While important victories were being won by OK, railway, postal and breweries workers in the first 6 months of 1987, unions were preparing for the Second National Congress of their federation, COSATU. At the NUM's 5th National Congress, the mood was militant, with workers indicating that 1987 was the year they would strike for a living wage.
What we're saying is that the working class, the miners, are going to take control this year, 1987.
What we want, a part of it has been achieved, because we have decided to unite.
The giant new metal union, NUMSA, was launched as tensions in all industries rose over wage negotiations. The Chamber of Mines and the NUM deadlocked over wages. NUMSA counted its ballots and metal workers stopped work on the eve of COSATU's Second National Congress. Since the launch of COSATU, the Federation's membership has grown from 450,000 in December 1985 to 712,000 in July 1987. In line with COSATU's policy of one union, one industry, the phasing out of general unions advanced COSATU's level of organization, preparing it to challenge the power of the big monopolies. 1,438 delegates from 12 national industrial unions gathered for the Second National Congress to debate issues confronting the worker movement in South Africa.
Friends and patrons, I wish to welcome you to COSATU's Second National Congress. This Congress is taking place at a time when the conflict between the forces trying to maintain the system and the forces of social progress is hotter than ever. We must now consolidate our gains and strengthen our determination to move forward and play our leading role as organized workers in the struggle for national liberation and socialism. Together with our democratic allies, we have made it difficult for the ruling class to continue to pretend that they have a way out of the political and economic crisis currently gripping our country. No wonder the apartheid regime is becoming an open dictatorship. Border, border, border. Comrades, we as workers have faced bitter battles on the road to COSATU. So we know how important the unity of COSATU is to us. COSATU alone is an achievement we are going to defend to the last drop of our blood. We will defend what rightly belongs to us. How we defend it, it will be seen then. The fact that many of our major affiliates have adopted the Freedom Charter as a guide in our struggle for democracy and socialism seriously places the question of a political program to guide our action on the agenda. Our Congress must confront this question fully. Let us shape policies that will guide us concretely in the struggles ahead. Policies that will allow the organized working class under COSATU to fight apartheid repression and capitalist exploitation. Our place is in the front line of struggle, and to the front line we must go. Amandla. Amandla.
Since its launch, COSATU has increasingly taken a high political profile. This Congress was taking place under the second state of emergency, and as the highest policy-making body of the Federation, it faced the challenge of adopting political policies that would ensure the defense of gains already made and also advance the level of future struggles.
We have built an organization, comrades, that is based on militant affiliates. This has given us strength and resilience to survive the 19 very difficult months. Our survival in the light of vicious repression on all fronts against the undemocratic forces leased against us has placed us in a very central political position. This has inevitably brought a very serious clash between COSATU and the state. In relation to capital, we have seen that there is a growing conflict with employers as economic conditions deteriorate. On the political front, we see that capital has given very ineffectual opposition to the state's complete elimination of the rule of law. As a result, we are saying now for the whole world to know that there is no basis at all for any cooperation between organized labor and so-called liberal bourgeoisie elements in our country. The growth of COSATU has obviously raised very serious and fundamental questions about the effectiveness of capitalism in South Africa. In relation to our resolution on women, we again have to note that we have taken or made very little progress in implementing this resolution. We are seeing that black women particularly are still exploited by capitalism and oppressed by both the racism of apartheid and the prejudices and social outlooks of men. We have seen women at the forefront of many of the mass struggles being fought out in our country. Yet at the leadership level, there is still a vacuum. In conclusion, we would like to hail those comrades that have fallen in struggle. In this respect, particularly Simon Ngubane and Phineas Sibiya, the late comrades who died at the hands of marauding tribal vigilantes, who died defending COSATU principles and promoting working class culture. We mourn the 177 miners killed at Kinross and the murder of 10 miners at Slobani. We salute the hundreds of other comrades who have died in brutal attacks through the actions of the apartheid security forces and at the bloody hands of vigilante death squads. And we say to these comrades, we salute them, and we say that the ultimate sacrifice that you have paid will strengthen our determination and commitment to struggle for the total liberation of our people. In end, let us say, through this Congress and through the years ahead, let us translate our slogans into reality. Forward with workers' control and democracy. Forward to working class leadership. One country. One union.
In Namibia, comrades, we do not see your struggle here in South Africa as an isolated struggle. Neither do we see our struggle as isolated from what's taking place here in South Africa. We see our struggle both in Namibia and in South Africa as a one united struggle against the capitalist, racist oppressors here.
Our trade unions are entrusted with the task of showing us the way beyond increasing our wage package on Friday every month when we get our wages. But our unions must show us that state power is what we have to go for. The strategic objective of the liberation movement and the working class in this country is to go forward and take power from those who have it today, because they have over the years showed themselves incapable of utilizing that power to the benefit of all the peoples of South Africa. We slave and sweat, but we still remain poor. We build the houses, we build the flats, we build the dwellings, but thousands of us still remain homeless to this day. We even grow the food and harvest the crops and serve our big fat masters, yet our children and ourselves go hungry every day. In short, comrades, we produce the wealth of this country and create the profits upon which more and more capital is accumulated. Indeed, without us, the racist motto of exploitation can grind to a halt. The regime in this country will go to every length to ensure that it brings the democratic movement to a halt. It is only if we allow ourselves to be divided, it is only if we refuse to take cognizance of the fact that we hold our future in our hands, that the regime will have sway over events and will seize the initiative from us, and we shall be faced with another century of oppression. In those few words, the United Democratic Front wishes this Congress of COSATU every success it can. Amandla!
The South African Youth Congress sends its revolutionary greetings, launching you, together with the other sectors, into an all-round battle against the apartheid colonialist regime. The message reads as thus: everyone and everything for the liberation struggle, and nothing against non-racialism, democracy, peace and socialism. The idea of socialism has correctly occupied the minds of the workers and the youth and the majority of the people in South Africa. Workers realize that a post-apartheid society needs to be built now. It is for this reason that the majority of workers in COSATU have adopted the Freedom Charter. This, of course, has not been easy. And because we have a vested interest in the future as the youth, and because we are together with the rest of our people, including the workers, cherish a society free of national oppression and economic exploitation, we feel we have a right to add our word to the debates taking place in COSATU.
Debates that would last for 3 days began on amendments to the Constitution, one of the first concerns voting procedures in Congress and matters that would affect COSATU's policies.
In our federation, it is quite possible that because of the potential in other industries, 2 unions can swing any motion in the Congress itself against the rest of other affiliates, and that would be a motion. Affiliates are voting as delegates, but they do vote according to the mandate of their own union, and we can't say it's still a bloc. So, Comrade Chair, along those lines, we feel that it would be proper to have this new clause so as to enhance unity within our federation. Thank you.
As has been stated, the present situation is that the 2 big unions can outvote the rest of the House put together, which we believe is actually a very undesirable way of building unity. Comrade, even this amendment will only become accepted by the House if those 2 big unions are prepared to limit their powers in the Congress by allowing the amendment to go through.
We see this proposal as sarcastically saying that we should not be having delegates inside of the union. A union with 359,000 members should have the same delegation with a union with 200 members. That's what this resolution says, and we reject it strongly.
This is some kind of introduction of vetoes in our structure, and as such, we support NUM in rejecting this particular clause.
What the comrade from NUM is saying is not his individual view of the proposal. He keeps on saying that NUM is saying this because he has a mandate from his union, and by that an indication is that it's the view that is shared by the whole union. So, comrade Chair, we cannot say we'll move to a point where one is just taking an individual vote, notwithstanding the fact that the union had this mandate.
We say we are a federation that is controlled by workers and not anything else. Now, if we say that affiliates must vote, we may just as well call a Congress of 12 people, and they will vote for the entire federation.
We all say worker control, we all say worker democracy, but we are not really implementing it to the fact that now everybody will feel free. When we come to these meetings, nobody can deny the fact that each affiliate will caucus before coming here. Now, when we come to vote, each delegate is loyal to the decision of his affiliate. In the matter of policies, principles, and actions whereby there should be a strike action, then in a situation like that, we must encourage now secret ballots to overcome this problem of the giant unions overpowering the smaller unions.
We are not very happy about putting this to a vote.
Chemical Workers Industrial Union and the National Union of Textile Workers agreed to discuss the proposal before Congress during a break in proceedings. Their new proposal was put to the House.
And we take a decision. Chemical.
Our union, and in consultation with NUTW, is prepared to come up with a position which maybe is going to be acceptable to the House and keep the unity of COSATU. Now, what we're proposing, comrades, is that if we look on the Constitution already provides for two-thirds majority decision on a resolution to change the Constitution. Now, what we're proposing is that the resolution that are not covered on that clause should be included. That is, major resolutions that are taken in the Congress should not only be decided on 50% majority, they also should be decided on two-thirds majority as constitutional amendments.
In all constitutions that most of us have come across, we have never seen a clause where it says on a resolution there must be two-thirds majority. So we would suggest that they accept the worldwide, well-known compromise position of just accepting that it's a simple majority that is needed and not a two-thirds majority, and that they should withdraw their suggestion.
Maybe the whole world haven't got this kind of a clause. But the other thing, Comrade Chair, it was declared that the whole world can be wrong, can be mistaken, and that COSATU, comrades, can show the whole world what is the right procedure. And, comrade, we repeat this issue, comrade. If we have to go to a vote and we lose it, but we're stating our sentiments, comrade, in order to keep COSATU united.
Point of order.
Comrades, you are disturbing the scrutinizer.
Comrades, the outcome of the voting is 828 against the motion and 413 for the motion. Motion is not accepted.
The debate around COSATU's international policy raised questions of worker-to-worker solidarity action in the struggle against capitalism and imperialism. Worker delegates discussed working-class alliances and the question of affiliation to the African Union Federation, OATU.
OATU has emerged as the working-class organization in Africa, which is waging war against imperialism and capitalism. And comrades, we have noticed that the fear that the united action of the working class and its allies struck in the hearts of the capitalist and imperialism class. And having noticed, comrades, the attempts by the imperialists to subvert our struggle by using all dirty tricks in the book in forms of financial corruption and even physical elimination of our leaders, as we have seen in the case of Comrade Samora Machel. And comrades, having still noted that the South African government is an agent of the capitalists and imperialists in this continent, as shown by their continued campaign to destabilize the frontline state, we as NUM comrades feel that it is both imperative and of utmost importance for COSATU to strengthen fraternal links with all working class organizations in Africa.
We are here to represent our members, and we know that our members in the different affiliates do not know sufficient, or in some cases do not know at all about OATU. The fact that there is one or two unions who have some information, or who even affiliate to OATU, does not change that, Comrade Chair.
We are saying as a labor movement now that OATU are our brothers, and if we do go to OATU, whatever problems which are there, we would go and solve those problems together with our brothers there.
We need not to be too much emotional, comrades. For instance, one of us was stating that because they are our brothers, they are our comrades in the struggle, because they are Africans just like us, we could say the same about Chief Buthelezi, and we could say the same about Jonas Savimbi. Whether they be on the African continent or not, this does not make a people automatically relevant to our own struggle just because of that. But this does not make OATU a non-relevant organization. I have been informed that within OATU we have got, for instance, the Nigerian Labour Congress, who are strongly interested in working together with COSATU. I believe this is a chance we need to exploit, comrades. But in favor again of what comrades from NUM have raised concerning OATU, I say, how about our comrades then from Chemical withdrawing their amendment, but our comrades from NUM allowing those of us who are ignorant to go back to our respective constituencies, discuss affiliation into OATU, motivate it based on the points that have been raised in this meeting, which I believe are very valid points. But we also need to give our democratic structures the chance of going through the process of discussing the matter. When we go into OATU, we must make our own contribution. But in order for us to do that, I believe we need the support of all the members who owe allegiance to our unions which owe allegiance to COSATU, COSATU which owes allegiance to the working class struggle in Africa. Thank you, Comrade Chair.
We have heard here, comrades who are talking here, that COSATU, which is one of the trade union movement in this country, is affiliated and is involved in OATU. They are also depriving us the right now to be there with COSATU to gain the experience, to gain their knowledge and their strategies and bring them back home in our interlinks with the OATU.
They're saying, comrades, that we must not debate the issues to say that because COSATU has done something, we must just follow. But it doesn't mean that we don't support COSATU. It means that we are an organization, we've got our own base, we've got our own constituency, and we've got to follow the workers, and we've got to lead the workers. Just as much as all these international organizations that have become so bureaucratized, like the ICFTU, like the IOF, like Fiat, like all the rest of them, You don't see people in these organizations, comrades, that are working on the basis of a mass base. You see people that we meet them here over a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. We can even arrange trips to Britain and so on without a mandate. And they operate like that because they've become bureaucratized. They've become distant from the membership. And we've got to say that if we're going to influence these organizations, we must do it on the basis of our mass base. So we want to propose this amendment to the NUM resolution. And we're saying that the whole of the resolution is absolutely fine. We've got no problems with it. We would just like to change point 3. Comrade, we'd like point 3 to read as thus: that COSATU affiliates discuss the recommendation, and we see NUM as making a recommendation, that COSATU affiliates discuss the recommendation of affiliating to OATU among our members. And in the meantime, that we instruct the executive to go ahead with establishing a working relationship with OATU. And this is what we see by a working relationship: that we will attend OATU congresses, that we will attend OATU meetings as such, that we will form common bonds with them, even in campaigns. But formally, we're not going to affiliate with them until we've gone to our members and we've carried them to the point where they can give us a direction as to how we must conduct ourselves in OATU.
We in the NUM have no problem with the amendment as proposed by CAUSA.
Congress had already taken a firm stand on sanctions, but the experience of a number of COSATU's affiliated companies pulling out of South Africa provoked debate on disinvestment.
The ideas of the motive behind sanctions and disinvestment is to bring the apartheid government down to its knees, to make them to understand that we totally reject the present system. But we'll find out what is happening now is that instead of these factories or these multinational companies withdrawing according to our aims and objectives, isn't happening like that.
What they have done is this, that they have shifted the ownership from their hands to be administered by the South African management, and that the company still belongs to them. And that we see as a corporate camouflage because of the fact that they are trying to evade the political pressure that they are having in their own home country. And that this camouflage allows these companies to increase their support for the South African regime.
What we have seen in Port Elizabeth, General Motors, which has been sold to South Africans, which today is called Delta Motors, has not been sold. It was not a sale. It is what they call warehousing. And warehousing means the Americans have given General Motors to South Africans for a period of 5 years. If there is change in South Africa, the ANC takes over. There is a black government. There is no longer pressure on the American companies to pull out because they support apartheid. The American General Motors is going to come back and say, Delta Motors, give us our factory, please. This is what is involved in the sale of General Motors. We want the companies to give us 12 months period during which we are going to discuss with them the nature of the sale.
All that the resolution is saying is that the proceeds of the sales of any royalties and so forth must be paid into a trust fund nominated by the union. Now, comrades, will you kindly explain to us what the purpose of these trust funds is going to be?
A company should not derive any benefits as a result of the withdrawal from South Africa. Any benefit should be plowed back into this country for the workers, or otherwise you must pull out of the country, have absolutely no links with the establishment still remaining in this country, Comrade Chair.
They are enjoying the publicity outside that instead of selling the internal subsidiaries to the white oppressors. They would like that the masses, the oppressed masses, should have a share. What should be our position in that situation? Now, we as workers will say they mustn't choose where do they want this trust fund to be. The workers must determine.
Without political power, you won't control anything. What they are trying to do here is to accommodate you in their own planning against your own revolution.
Ons vra vir disinvestering, wetende dat ons as die werkersklas gaan eerste daardeur lê.
We are calling for this investment, knowing that we as the working class are going to suffer first.
En nou kom ons om die leiding 'n bietjie meer draagliker te maak met 'n klompie voorstelle en vereistes.
Now we are trying to make our suffering easier with a lot of proposals.
Ek het 'n bietjie 'n moeilikheid om dit alles te aanvaar, want dit lyk vir my meer na 'n klugspel.
I've got a problem to accept that. It looks to me more something like a trick.
By thinning their economic power with these disinvestments, we are lessening the power which South Africa is using to destabilize, for instance, and cause a lot of deaths in countries like Mozambique, Namibia, and Zimbabwe, or even Zambia. Comrades, we believe it is the economy of South Africa that is fighting these wars. If we cripple that economy of South Africa, if we shut down the factories, if we don't allow those factories to be sold to South African owners, then we are forcing the Botha regime to a conference table with our representative organizations with lesser blood, either in Namibia or in Zambia or in Mozambique, as the case is, comrades.
Congress passed the resolution on disinvestment, resolving to ensure that the social wealth of South Africa remains the property of the people of South Africa for the benefit of all, and further committed itself to the principle of international working class solidarity action as the most powerful form of solidarity action in the struggle for national liberation. Congress also called for companies to give COSATU adequate notice of the intention to disinvest so that negotiations could take place. The political debate, seen as one of the most important debates, centered around two resolutions proposed by NUMSA and one proposed by NUM.
Suggest that we have a motivation on the first resolution on political policy by NUM, and after that we get motivation on the other two from NUMSA, and we then open this to discussion.
We say we should ensure that workers participate effectively and play a leading role in the struggle against exploitation and oppression. And this is showing clearly, comrades, that we cannot divorce the struggle for national liberation from the struggle against capitalist exploitation. Our view there, comrades, is we see the shop floor struggle or the shop floor demand as more and more reformist than revolutionary. So what we are saying is that we cannot have our struggle demarcated into a worker struggle and the community struggle or the youth struggle. We strongly disagree with the principle of marching separately and striking together. Comrades, Our resolution still maintains that we should not affiliate to any political organization within the democratic struggle in South Africa. Our resolution goes further and says that COSATU should adopt the Freedom Charter as a guiding document which reflects the views and aspirations of the majority of the oppressed and exploited in our struggle against national oppression and economic exploitation. We adopt the Charter as a program in our struggle. And hence we, in our resolution, have encouraged the development and strengthening among the workers a coherent working class understanding of the demands of the Freedom Charter.
We are urging COSATU to adopt the Freedom Charter and also to commit itself to building socialism. Now, Comrade Chair, it is no good for us to adopt the Freedom Charter only to be able to stand on a soapbox on a street corner and say, I adopted the Charter. The question we should be asking is, what are we going to do to implement the Charter? What are we going to do to enforce socialism in our society? We are asking COSATU to discuss amongst all its structures and all the workers a program, a plan of action, Comrade Chair. That is a program, a plan of action on how we are going to implement the Charter and the road to socialism. That's what we are asking you to discuss. It is not a secret document, as people have been trying to say, a workers' charter that tomorrow we will spring on COSATU. There is no plan of action. The workers must decide the plan of action. COSATU's affiliates, they must decide that plan. Comrade Chair, I have a few questions that I'm not too sure about that I hope later in the discussion NUM can give us some answers. They call for COSATU to remain independent and not affiliate to any political organization. The very same thing that NUMSA is asking. Yet, Comrade Chair, I can't understand how they ask for the formation of permanent structures. They say they are unhappy with marching separately and striking together. Yet, Comrade Chair, if you're unhappy with that and you want permanent structures, then why not affiliate to a political party? Because, Comrade Chair, if you want to keep COSATU's independence, then you must march separately and strike together, Comrade Chair.
What NUM have suggested, we have also been supportive of it. We really feel that the comrades have come up with what was necessary for COSATU. But we do have problems with what the comrade from NUMSA, with the way he was motivating. The comrade was talking of a plan of action. Now, we don't know if ever the comrade from NUMSA does see this investment or sanction as an independent plan by whom, or does he see that plan as part of the working class that we are suggesting this as our program towards, towards socialism and as a plan of action. So does the comrade take these things as two different things, or does the comrade put them inside in the plan that he's trying to come up from? That's where the confusion lies. And we would like the comrade really to come up with something solid when he talks of a plan of action. Then we'll be able also to start talking more.
Why we are supporting NUMSA resolution is because it's in line with our kind of resolution which we were thinking to submit to this House. We find that now, on the other side, the NUMSA resolution has some shortfalls there, comrade. For instance, we are talking about industrial workers. It talks about organized workers, and it excludes the greater part of our working class and the oppressed masses in this country.
Comrades, our struggle is a struggle to transform society, which is not fragments, but an integrated whole. we are struggling for the transformation of the whole society, not of the workplace. So we must not confuse workers' struggle with the struggle of the whole society. The struggle for socialism is the struggle for the liberation of mankind. The working class does not only liberate itself. So the working class should go on out to the petty bourgeoisie, to the professionals, to the intellectuals, and exercise and play its hegemonic role there. And the proposal by the NUM really calls for that we should go there and play our hegemonic role. So there is no contradiction between the struggle for socialism and the Freedom Charter. The struggle for socialism, the basis must be laid within that particular struggle, and the Freedom Charter really lays the basis for that transition. So, comrades, there is a dialectical link between the national democratic struggle and struggle for socialism. We won't have any need to work out any other workers' program, because Freedom Charter is the program, a political program for the national democratic struggle.
We believe that the Freedom Charter is the only document that all sectors could be combined to fight against oppression and exploitation in this country. And we also believe that the formation of those structures as proposed by the NUM will be of very vital importance if the task that is being given to the working class leadership is to build all and bring all people to understand the importance of socialism in order to fight corruption, which we widely see taking place in this country today, where the South African government and its imperialist allies are actually establishing a stable black middle class in order to frustrate the attempts of building a socialist South Africa. Then in order to play that important task as people that should be in the leadership role of our struggle, we need to be in very close contact with such people to educate them about the future of society that we would like to see in this country.
If I may just explain a little bit what happened in our own union. We have had our own Congress, Comrade Chair, where we wanted to formulate a political policy for our own union before this Congress. And we couldn't come to a conclusion. But we reached a consensus in the Congress that in light of the debate and the way people are feeling about the debate in the Congress, we should defer the discussion for another coming Congress. It's unfortunate that this one is happening before our coming Congress, so we don't have a position at this stage.
It is very important to discuss any major or any sensitive issues through our structures to the union. As we did in our union on the 27th and 28th when we had our National Congress, we discussed this Freedom Charter issue, and our shop stewards were too divided. Therefore, we came to the conclusion, for the interest of unity and the worker control, therefore our stand as NUTW at this point in time, to avoid the division amongst our members, therefore we cannot adopt the Freedom Charter, but we can go along with the minimum demand from NUMSA. Thank you, Comrade Chair.
COSATU support textile and NUMSA that the Federation must maintain its political independence and that workers must come together and draft a program that will join together all workers regardless of political affiliation. We believe, comrades, as COSATU, that it is important, comrades, at this point in time, if we are serious about socialism, and if we are serious about unity, not to adopt a particular tendency that is within the liberation movement, but that we should work on a program that will join together all workers, regardless of political tendency.
In respect of our revolution,
and the militancy of the youth in our country, I wish to submit this to our comrade president and comrade delegates here, that the last speaker here, that is not the position of COSATU. However,
comrades, we don't need that.
Before we started this discussion, we were approached by two comrades from COSATU who asked us to make a special arrangement in view of the fact that they have got this internal problem, whereby we were going to allow, so to say, both views to be expressed in this house. So we don't really want a comrade to tell us that this is the genuine COSATU position, this is not the COSATU position as such. But we just want you to express the very views that we've been mandated to express here.
Yes, comrade.
Okay, comrade.
In regard to the NUM resolution, I want to express myself that we fully support that on the grounds that, look, the Freedom Charter, it's a carefully planned document, and at the same time, it is a program. Comrades, we need to plan and at the same time have a program that is able to consolidate and unite all sections in our society. Those are the oppressed masses committed to see change in our country through the process of a carefully planned revolution, planned by revolutionaries with years of experience in the revolution.
Internal differences in COSATU were shown when one group supported NUM's resolution and the other supported NUMSA's. This created confusion as to whether NUMSA's resolution was seconded or not.
Yes, Com.
All the time the discussion has been going on, we never had the chance of coming forward and saying that, is it possible then for this group to give us an opportunity as NUMSA to go and caucus and see whether we can come back and not talk about our two resolutions which are separate, one separate from the other, and concentrate on the resolution that we believe is a composite that we can discuss with our comrades from NUM.
NUMSA feels that the resolution should be taken as discussed this morning in this Congress. This is the mandate that was given to NUMSA to take forward to this Congress this afternoon.
I see no reason why the comrades should not agree to withdraw their resolution in favor of the NUM resolution, in that the NUM resolution already takes what they are saying into consideration.
Congress passed the political resolution resolving to adopt the Freedom Charter as a guiding document that reflects the views and aspirations of the majority of the oppressed and exploited in the struggle against national oppression and economic exploitation, and to develop and strengthen among all workers a coherent working class understanding of the demands of the Freedom Charter, and to encourage the fullest discussion on socialism and democracy.
Ipaseni ngawe madoda zonke izizwe ezimnyama nabamhlophe abafuna inkoleko ukuze sihlale kwinkuleko entle siphathene kakuhle madoda hlanganani basebenzi.
After 3 days of debate, Congress closed with all national office bearers being re-elected unopposed.
COSATU mntakabhakhayini. Lo msebenzi unikwayo uzongadinwa. Uzongadinwa lawo mntakanayithu. J92. Sikhokela kwethini. Uwelilondlu yephesheya. Ubuye nengelo. Ukhumbule Bhakhaya uMandela. Usathetha uthi phambili nedabi labasebenzi. Ukhumbule oluthuli bakudala. Nothemba kaMbeki noSenzo. Phambili nedabi labasebenzi.
A cultural celebration and worker rally signaled the end of COSATU's Second National Congress and the beginning of a new phase of militant working class struggle in South Africa.
Kwakhona comrades, into endifuna uyithetha yile, kufuneka kusukela ngoku senze ubudlelwana nomama ne-youth, i-students ne-civic, ukusukela ngoku sibophe elaa qhina liqine, sihambe kunye xa silwa nobhoda. Umntaka Mandela atye i-birthday party yakhe emveni kwezikhiya. Kodwa next year, if COSATU will march to Portsmouth and take out Nelson Mandela.
We are seeing comrades like our leader, Comrade Mayakiso, on trial for treason for doing what workers have mandated him to do. We have seen our headquarters being bombed, but COSATU is not a building, it is not leaders like ourselves, it is workers and the people on the ground. We see that this apartheid regime is still executing our patriots, and there are now 32 patriots on death row in Pretoria. We have resolved as COSATU in our Congress that we will support actively the campaign to get the release of our comrades who have been threatened with execution by Pretoria.
Now is the time to organize. Now is the time to mobilize. Now is the time to politicize and advance. When the conference was started on Tuesday, we were weak, but we came out of that conference, which is yesterday, stronger than we were before, united more than we were before. And comrades, with that power of the workers, we must advance to people's power.